Welcome back to Education Matters. Did you correctly answer A, 15%? That's right. Since 2012, the General Assembly has allocated a lump sum of $100 million annually to North Carolina's public schools to help with infrastructure needs, a percentage equal to roughly 15% of the lottery proceeds, or less than 1/2 of what would have been distributed under the original law that was set up for the education lottery. We're going to talk further about school infrastructure needs across the state with the representatives of two groups who are grappling hands-on in how to find solutions to this. We have Leanne Leonard. She is the Director of Government Relations for the North Carolina School Boards Association, and we have Kevin Leonard, Executive Director of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, well, first of all, this is a top priority, I know, for both of your organizations. You represent, well, the school boards have to, they're the ones responsible for the local school systems and making sure they have what they need. County commissioners, by and large, are the ones who are having to find the money, right? So it's a big priority for you, this about $8 billion. Tell me sort of, what is the association? Why are you prioritizing it this year?
Well, traditionally, the state has given money, a substantial amount of money for school construction every 10 years. It's been about 20 years now since the last big bond issue, which was 1996.
Right.
And so we've been working on a package that includes some infusion of dollars through a significant bond issue, and then some long-term solutions. So hopefully we will not get back in the same situation
And that's what the treasurer just was, at the end, he really sort of said we really need something that's more sustainable, more long-term. What your thoughts on, how do we get $8 billion? Are we $8 billion behind? Did we not do something we should have been doing?
No, we've been trying to tackle the problem all along, but it is a growing issue over time. So we represent all 100 counties, and our county commissioners across the state have asked us to make this our top priority, just like the School Boards Association, because we're on the edge of a crisis of school construction. And what we're trying to do, and the story we're trying to tell, is we have to reconnect this partnership between the state government and our county governments and our school boards across the state to tackle this problem. I think it's a multi-faceted approach. Lottery funds are a significant part of that, but a school bond, which hasn't happened in 20 years, we have to revisit that conversation again.
Well, we're going to pull up on the screen while we're talking. There's a couple of charts that show what the needs are. But what we're talking about on the screen, you've got renovations, you got new buildings, new classrooms. There's lots of different needs. We're at a critical point, Leanne. Is that right?
We are at a critical point. We've got counties who just don't have the ability to raise the revenue to replace buildings that are 50+ years old. We have urban communities that are growing substantially and thus need to put new buildings online and don't have the tax base to be able to support the growth that is happening in their communities.
Right, and Kevin, you know this, but our organization, the Public School Forum, we've tracked the issues of like local school finance, and we know that a lot of counties just don't have the revenue base. Even though they may tax at a higher rate than a county like a Wake or Mecklenburg, they just can't raise the kind of funds that the capital needs are, right?
Correct, that's absolutely correct. Leanne's right, and that's, I think, highlights why we have to approach this from different angles. So a bond targeted to certain counties, to all counties at different levels. We also are advocating for sales tax flexibility. There are various sales tax articles that already exist that we could change that would help maybe some of those counties that are dealing with, they can't keep up with the need because the students are coming in so fast. Whereas the lottery dollars, which there's a bill in the Senate sponsored by Senator Harry Brown that would target Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties, and we could tackle those problems. And as he has said, if you tackle that problem in one of those counties, you've solved that problem for maybe 50 years because you've solved that issue. But these other places need that flexibility. Those other larger growing counties need that flexibility as well.
So, Leanne, what are the school boards telling you? What are they? A bond? That's something that I think is sort of a big infusion. I think there's been some discussion about a $2 billion approximately bond issue.
1.9.
Okay.
They're very supportive of that. They really want a package. They want that infusion now, so that they can go ahead and kind of kickstart the construction statewide, and then to make sure that we've got these solutions like the sales tax, additional lottery proceeds, to make sure that going forward, once we get through the expenditure of the bond funds, that we would be able to sustain the progress that we have made and not end up back in this situation again.
Now, there's been some other proposals. I know there's at least one bill that was filed last year and another one I think that's floating around. Sounds like it's a lease, basically. It's a way to maybe get some money in through some longer-term leases. Is that something that your organizations have looked at? Do you think it's a good idea to sort of get into this notion of leasing?
We have looked at that bill. We have some concerns on the length of term of that lease, and so we're working with the bill sponsors and the folks who are the stakeholders in that to talk about that. If I may go back to the sales tax piece just a bit, because I want to be very clear about that we're not talking about new taxing authority here. This is sales tax that are already on the books. The authority already exists there. And I just think it's important to highlight that what we're advocating for is not increasing a new tax on that. It's taking that existing authority and broadening out the purpose of it and giving that flexibility to the county to say we're going to target this tax towards public education or public school construction.
Right.
And so I think it's an important thing to mention.
Now, you mentioned about the growth. I mean, there's some demographic changes and sort of population trends that are kind of driving this too, right? And in terms of when students come in. So how does that affect the facility needs?
Well, I think this goes back to, and I'd be interested to hear from Leanne on the same point, that it goes back to us for, we represent all the counties in the state, and they all have different challenges. You have a smaller county who may be losing population. They need to repair what they have or build that one high school that they need and consolidate that school. They're facing, those are tough challenges for those communities to do that. But they need the partnership between the state and the county government, which, by the way, counties are putting into operational spending to the tune of around $2.6 billion around that each year. So there's this partnership. So they've got to weigh both of those things.
Well, believe it or not, we're already out of time. This is we need a whole show on this, right? We'll have you come back so we can talk a little bit more about it, because there's a lot of the long-term discussion needs to happen, and it's something that's we're not going to fix this session, but we can get a good start on it. So, but thank you both for joining us here today, and we'll continue this conversation on another show. After the break, this week's Leadership Spotlight.